correct, I'm sorry. I put the two down there just for them, if they're incorrect.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. At this time, we call the Department and Agency Subcommittee to order. And if, make sure everyone has logged in. And Mr. Clerk, if you would, let's call the roll. All right. If the clerk would, please take the roll.
Mr. Chairman, you have 6 members present. You have a quorum.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. At this time, is there any members of the committee have any personal orders? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and start in with our regular calendar. Item number 1 is House Bill 592 by Representative Doggett. We have a motion and we do have a second. I see there are no amendments filed. Is that correct, Chairman?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, that is. I'm sorry. Thank you, ma'am.
All
I
right.
dropped the lid to my drink there.
All right, Chairman, you're recognized.
Well, good morning, everyone. It's always a pleasure to be before you. Today, I want to talk to you about House Bill 592. What this bill does is makes the process simpler for innocent people to receive compensation after they have been exonerated. Currently, under Tennessee law, after a court has determined that a person is innocent, that individual cannot bring a claim to the Board of Claims for compensation without first obtaining a certificate of exoneration from the governor. And so to qualify under this bill, 2 things must be true. Your conviction must be overturned pursuant to innocence litigation in a Tennessee court, and the state must dismiss all charges. If those 2 things are true, which I will say is extremely rare, being that there only have been 36 exonerations in the history of this state, then that person can go directly to the Board of Claims. Additionally, this bill will allow children of the exoneree to access the claim if the exoneree is no longer living, whereas current law states that it is minor children. Mr. Chairman and committee, I have someone here to testify today in regards to this, but I just want to say that 2 years ago, I had a very nice lady and a nice man come to my office, and they told me a story about a lady who had spent 27 years in prison for a crime that she did not commit. They had worked with this lady to get her back in front of the court system, where the court had deemed her innocent. She has been before the parole board with unanimous decision for exoneration. And she's been out of prison now for, I think, 4 years, 3 or 4 years. So that day of that meeting, I wrote this lady's name on a sticky note and stuck it on the corner of my desk. I've made some phone calls. I've had numerous conversations in regards to what was happening with this nice lady. But when this nice man and woman brought me this bill this year, and I filed this bill, I took that sticky note off the corner of my desk because we have a solution. And that lady's name that was on that sticky note is Joyce Watkins, and she's here with us today. And so, Mr. Chairman, if it's okay, barring any questions at this moment, I have someone here that would like to address you.
All right, Representative, you're recognized.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman Doggett. I really like this bill, and I appreciate you bringing it. I'm looking forward to hearing this individual. But I just want to ask 2 questions. This bill, when you stated that the charges are dismissed and the sentence is vacated, those 2 things, correct?
Yes, sir.
When would there be a case when one would happen without the other?
Well, we'd have to be out of session to answer that question. That'd be a good question for out of
Okay,
session.
then let me ask you another question, if it's okay, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
So the ability to go back and get reparations for this, if you will. You said it could go back for one generation. So like if someone was maybe 80 years old and something happened 100 years ago, whatever, but that 80-year-old child was still alive, they would still be eligible to get in on something like this if for some reason they were exonerated. And would that be a true, am I following, am I picking up what you're laying down?
Chairman Doggett.
Let me give you just a simple example. So an individual 40 years old has minor children in the home when they are convicted of a crime that they did not commit.
Mm-hmm.
That individual, mother, father, they leave the home for 20 years. They find a way to get back into court because there is some evidence that would support that their conviction was wrong. They go through the process. They're found innocent in the court of law. The sentence is vacated. At that point, those children may be in their 30s or 40s themselves. And so there would be, if that individual was deceased at that time, they would have an opportunity to file to the Board of Claims to receive compensation that otherwise would have went to that individual who had been found to be exonerated.
Just clarification. So just in theory, if someone had been convicted of a crime and everyone was dead that was involved in that, but they were convicted of that crime and their children now are senior citizens, for lack of a better term, they would still be eligible under this law. Is that correct?
Chairman.
I think so. In the event that they were minor children whenever that parent was convicted.
Representative, go
Yeah.
ahead.
So in other words, the way that the children would be able to be eligible for this would be if they were minor children when the individual was in jail.
Chairman.
Thank you for that. I'll clarify this, but there's a 1-year statute of limitations on that. There is no one alive that would be eligible for this under this statute here. No one would be alive to, or no one would be allowed to file a claim, and that there's no one alive that would fit to by what this bill does.
And just for clarification, so the children are eligible because they were minors when their parents went to jail. Is that what I'm understanding this to say? And it may be, Mr. Chairman, that we need to go to.
Go ahead.
Because
It's any adult child, but I mean, we're getting really technical, and I've got some technical assistants that's sitting here waiting in the wing that can help you with that. If the chairman would let us go out of session, and maybe you can hear some testimony and ask those technical questions there.
All right. Members, without objection, we're going to go out of session and hear from Miss Joyce Watkins. Or Jason, did you want to go first?
No, I'll sit with Ms. Joyce, and then I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Miss Watkins, we normally hold a 3-minute time limit, but I'm not going to hold you to that limit. Okay.
Thank you.
So we would like for you to state your name and where you're from, and then you can start speaking anytime.
My name is Joyce Watkins. I'm from Franklin County, Deckard, Tennessee. I went to prison and I served a term of 27 years, or maybe a little bit more. In my life before prison, I was buying a house at a young age, good job, saving money, church, Sunday schools, family, no drinking, no smoking, just trying to live a good life and have a good life. That was my life before prison. And after prison, it was very, very hard to prove my innocence. Very hard. I could get no one to help me. The lawyers, I had several lawyers that did nothing to help me. Nothing. And they was paid good money for it, but they did nothing to help me until I found out about the Tennessee Innocent Project. and I went to them and asked them to help me. After being exonerated, charges dropped. My life now is better. I don't have to meet a parole board. I don't have to go to sex offender classes or nothing like that. I was on the sex offender register. They would come to my house any time of day or night they wanted to, just tear the house up looking for whatever. My parole officer, they could do the same thing. But my life now is so much better, that I don't have to live under those circumstances and those rules. I've been trying to get a compensation for right at 3 years now. I would like for this bill to pass. It would help me along with others. I have an old car. I get Social Security, rent's going up, and it's coming to the place where I might have to get a job. And it's really hard. And I wish this bill was passed to help me. Like I said, life is good for me now. I can go where I want to visit my people. And during that time, I've lost just about all of my family. 10 aunt and uncles, 4 brothers, a sister. I have 2 sisters now. One's disabled, and the other one, she's not in that good of a help, but just 5 nephews, 7 nieces, just my family left me, so it's really hard. And I just wish this bill was passed that would help me out a lot.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions or comments for Ms. Watkins? Okay. All right. Representative Carringer.
Want to say thank you, Ms. Watkins, for being here today. Thank you for having the courage, the strength to come here to support all the other victims that were in your situation. And there's a lot more than what we all think and know about. And praise God for Tennessee innocence. So I'll be voting for this bill because there's no amount of money that you can ever get to ever erase those years that you lost, that you did not deserve to lose. And the time with your family, your friends, and living your life. We can never give that back to you. But thank you. Obviously, you have a love for God. You're not bitter. And that is nothing but a miracle from God that you could. I know I don't think I could be there. So thank you. Your life is important. Your life matters. And the little bit of money that you can get for the rest of your life, that God is in control of all of our lives as to how many days we're here on this earth. But I just want to tell you, you are an inspiration. I am sorry. My heart is broken for what you've gone through. I cannot imagine. But for you to be able to sit down here with a smile on your face and come up to this place, it's not easy. And I just don't know. I mean, I thank God for your life, and I thank God for giving you the courage and the strength and the wisdom to be able to look beyond the failures that came to your life. So I will be, if I could vote for this bill 100,000 times, I would vote for this bill. So you have a friend up here. You have many friends. So remember that. And you're going to be in my prayers and thoughts for us to be able to somehow make some kind of a contribution for your life that you didn't deserve these years of torment. So stay strong and know that we do love you and you do have friends here. So thank you.
Representative Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I can't say it any better than Representative Carringer has stated it. And my words, to be exact, Ms. Watkins, when you mentioned the fact of the courts have determined that you are innocent after 20 plus years. And just to look at you, to stare at you, you look so strong and graceful. And it's a wonderful thing, and we should do more. We should do more, actually, and I certainly support this legislation. Voting for it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Chairman Powers.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I would like to thank you too for the courage for coming here today and speaking up, and for you and for others that have been through that. You said a couple of things that I look back and it really bothered me that this happened to you, first of all. But did you get when you were talking about lawyers or whatever, did you get a chance to, if you got a chance to appeal it, I guess you probably did. Did they appeal it more than one time, and were they helpful in any way in trying to appeal your case and when it first happened?
No, not one of them tried to get me back into court.
Oh, wow. What
Chairman.
was it a public defender, or was it lawyers you had to hire, or both, or?
They was all hired lawyers.
Okay. Okay.
Go ahead,
Yeah,
Mr.
it just bothers me that, that first of all, you were put in that position and you didn't get the help you needed when you originally needed it before it ever happened. So I really hate that. To go through what you have, I think we got a lot of members here on the committee with jail experience. So I think we're all understanding of, that was a joke, guys. No, I think we're all understanding though, but I can't imagine what you had to go through for that long a period of time. And we really appreciate you coming out today, and thank you for being here.
Thank you. Is there any other comments? If not, we're going to turn to Jason. And Jason, if you would just identify yourself as well and who you're with.
Thank you,
You're on.
Mr. Chairman.
You're
I think
on.
the mic's on
Yes.
now. My name is Jason Gishner. I am the executive director of the Tennessee Innocence Project. I'm also the attorney that represented Joyce Watkins when she was exonerated. Thank you for hearing us today. Thank you for considering this bill. I don't have anything more of substance to add than what Joyce said, other than people like Joyce need our help and need better than what the current system is. And this law can do something about that. I am happy to answer any technical questions that anybody may have about the bill or about the current state of the law.
Okay. Representative Martin.
And I too am going to be voting for the bill. And it's inspiring to see you here today, Ms. Watkins. It really is. But I do have just a couple of those technical questions that I was asking the sponsor. What is the difference? I mean, can someone be, I think the language is dismissed and their sentence is not vacated?
Yes. So the way that it works when somebody like Joyce comes back to court after so many years, there's very limited ways to litigate these cases. But the first step in the process to being judicially exonerated is that you have to go back to court, have a hearing, which is essentially like a new trial where you present the evidence of innocence. If the judge finds that you are innocent and rules in your favor, the first step in that process is to vacate the conviction. At that point, the state is in the position where they can say, well, we disagree with the judge's ruling on this. We want to retry the case. I've never seen that happen in any of the cases that we've handled. So the second step in the process before you are exonerated is that all of the charges need to be dismissed. Because once the conviction is vacated, it's like you start over. So in December of 2021, after we had a hearing in Joyce's case, the court found that she was innocent, overturned the conviction, vacated the sentence. It was like it was back to 1987 and she was charged with murder again. the next step in that process. Now, the state of Tennessee agreed that she was innocent. So they came to court. It said in court, we believe that she is innocent, and voluntarily dismissed the charges. But that's the second step in the process. Both of those things would need to happen under this bill to be able to go to the Board of Claims.
Representative
And
Martin.
then the other question that I'm just wanted to get clarity on.
Yeah.
So it was about the children, as far as, do they have to be like minors when their parents were sent to prison? Or could
So-
could it be something that happened a long time ago and their children are 70 years old and they would be eligible for?
In theory, yes. Practically, no. And let me explain the reason why that is because the bill has a 1-year statute of limitations in it for people to bring a claim whose parents previously deceased, who died as a result of this, before being able to bring their claim. And as was stated earlier by Chairman Doggett, there have only been 36 people exonerated in the state of Tennessee. So there isn't anybody that fits into that scenario that you were talking about, that there's maybe like this senior citizen out there.
Right.
I don't know of anybody that would qualify under that. The reason for that small change in the law, because it currently says minor children could be the claim. The problem is that when there's someone like Joyce who goes to prison for 27 years, they don't have minor children once they get exonerated. Their children are all adults.
Right.
So this is a fix for that situation. Now, in the majority of cases, the people who this will apply to would still be alive. After they were exonerated, they'd be able to bring the claim. And that's how it would work from there.
Just one follow-up. So basically, of these 36 cases, have any of them been that were exonerated for people that they were already deceased?
Yeah.
Okay.
I know of one, and that was actually Joyce's co-defendant. So Joyce and her co-defendant, who was her boyfriend, a man by the name of Charlie Dunn, their case, without getting into the weeds of it, was a medical case. We went back to court and proved through science and medicine that it was impossible they committed the crime and they were innocent. And everybody agreed with that. The medical examiner that sent them to prison in the first place was subsequently stripped of their medical license, not allowed to practice in Tennessee any further. Charlie died in prison of cancer in 2015 before he ever got out. He was just as innocent as she was. And normally, frankly, because of resources, the Tennessee Innocence Project only takes cases usually for people who are serving life sentences or something like that, because we can only help so many people. We were already helping Joyce, and we said, well, we're going to get Charlie's name cleared too. And that's why we took his case. I don't know, there might be one from a long time ago. I don't know of any other exonerations that have happened that was brought on behalf of somebody who was deceased. We bring the majority of these in the state, and that's the only time we've ever done it.
Mr. Chairman, I don't have anything else other than say thank you so much. This is a really good bill, and I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Chairman Powers.
Yes, thank you. And thank you again for coming today. Looking through the bill and everything and through the note and everything that's placed on it, one thing I always wondered about or did wonder about after looking at it, does it include, what if somebody is put in a local, like a county jail and something, and they were in there for a few years, 3 or 4 years, and then they are exonerated too? This bill does not include that at all. This is only for state. Is that correct?
So the bill, the jurisdiction to get relief under this bill is for people who bring a case back to court through the very specific innocence statutes. So there are only 2 paths to litigate innocence cases in Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
One is to reopen your post-conviction petition. The other one is something called an error quorum nobis. These are very rare that any of those goes back to court. I suppose in theory, someone on a lower level offense could bring a petition for relief under one of these statutes. I have never seen someone successfully do that. I don't know if I've ever seen anybody try to do it. So the vast majority of situations where you see this coming up are situations like Joyce, typically people who've been in for 20, 30 years for something that they didn't do.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you all. Any other questions or comments for our guests? Seeing none, we're going to go back into session. And Chairman Doggett, do you have any comments or? I think I've got a couple of members up here who wants to ask you a couple of questions, maybe. Chairman Powers, you're down on the list. You done took care of it? Thank you. All right, Chairman Crawford.
Previous question.
Previous question has been called. So we are, without objection, we're going to go ahead and take a vote. And if the clerk would please open up the voting board. Has everyone voted and anyone wishing to change their vote? And if you would, Mr. Clerk, please take the vote.
Mr. Chairman, you have 8 ayes.
Chairman Doggett, you move out to full committee. Thank you all.
Thank you very much.
All right, I'm going to move right along here. We got item number 2 is House Bill 1321 by Representative Stinnett. Do we have a motion? We have a motion and a second. No amendments have been filed on your bill, I see. Is that correct?
No, sir.
All right, Representative, you're recognized to explain your bill.
Thank you, Chairman. This bill is the legislation is to rename Tourist Division as Marketing. The title will better reflect the department and actual operation. In addition to renaming the division, the legislation establishes the role of a divisional head appointing by the Commissioner of Tourism. The individual will oversee the strategy, marketing efforts to promote Tennessee's unique attractions and cultural, and encouraging new investments, and provide support in existing tourism enterprises. The welcome centers that we see as we cross the state of Tennessee or coming into Tennessee, those have long been operated by this division with the support of the Tennessee Department of Transportation. And what this legislation will do will clarify its purpose and duties and divide the cultural. What it does is it's going to take it away from the Department of Transportation and the Department of Marketing, and will take it completely over, and they will be responsible for these, the grounds, the maintenance, all the things that happen at these centers. This legislation formally the responsibility of the Welcome Centers training, the maintenance facility, the landscaping, engaging in all the visitors and promoting Tennessee's heritage and culture. Currently, as I was saying there a minute ago, it's a combination, and that's going to be separated. They will be, the Tennessee Department of Transportation will take money that they've been using for these centers and move it into this marketing department. And the Tennessee the Tennessee Department of Transportation can concentrate on pavement, and the Department of Marketing can take care of these centers and make sure when people come to visit Tennessee, it's nice and it's clean, and there's information there to promote Tennessee. With that being said, Chairman, I stand for questions.
All right, members, you've heard the explanation. Do we have questions? Chairman Crawford.
I know your heart skipped a few beats when he recognized me, thinking I'm gonna, but I want to tell you this, Representative Stinnett. Thank you for bringing this bill. This is why we're here. There's no new money to this. My understanding, this basically just divides the divisions up, and this will make not only TDOT more efficient, but it'll make it more efficient for the state and all Tennesseans. So thank you for bringing this bill.
Thank you, sir.
Anyone else? Question has been called. Mr. Clerk, if you would, open the voting board. All right, everyone voted. Anyone wishing to change their vote? Mr. Clerk, if you would, please take the vote.
Mr. Chairman, you have 8 ayes.
Representative Stinnett, you're heading out to full committee. Thank you. Representative,
I know I'm out of order, Mr. Chairman, but I'd like to take just a personal privilege and recognize Rob Criswell, who is from Chattanooga. He came in a little bit late to the committee. He's with my assistant, Nick, and Rob is up here helping with the bill that is about helping with anti-choking devices, and he came up from Chattanooga. I just want to recognize him today. Thank you for letting me do that.
thank you. We're glad to have you here. Next up's item number 3, House Bill 1330 by Chairman Lafferty. And do we have a motion? Motion a second. I see no amendments. And Representative, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, committee. This is an administration bill that is going to make a number of changes across state government to reduce red tape, improve government efficiency, and promote workforce entry. First, the legislation eliminates licensure barriers and reforms licensing processes across several occupations and services. Such changes will include eliminating the professional soil scientist license, creating a new licensure pathway for CPAs, and providing licensing authorities more flexibility to establish reciprocity. Second, the bill amends provisions related to board appointments. These are largely technical changes aimed at enhancing functionality and promoting consistency among similar boards. For example, this bill will change seat distribution on Motor Vehicle Commission from congressional districts to grand divisions and increase term lengths for the Board of Dentistry from 3 years to 5 years, which will then align that with the larger Tennessee Department of Health boards. Finally, this bill will provide boards and commissions within state government more flexibility to conduct electronic meetings. This change will reduce per diem cost and allow more Tennesseans the opportunity to serve on boards. Governing bodies will be required to follow the current guidelines outlined in statute for conducting virtual meetings, as well as meet in person at least once a year. And with that, I will stand for questions.
Members, you've heard the explanation. Is there any questions from our members? And we do. Chairman Crawford.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I apologize for asking so many questions today, but I just want to get this on record. This has nothing to do with the well digging board or anything to do with replacing anybody or deleting that board, correct?
Chairman.
To my knowledge, that is absolutely correct.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Next up, Chairman Powers.
Move previous question, Mr. Chairman.
Previous question has been called. If the clerk would, please open the voting board. Everyone voted. Anyone wishing to change their vote? Mr. Clerk, if you would, please take the vote.
Mr. Chairman, you have 8 ayes.
And Chairman, I believe you move out to full committee.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, committee.
Thank you. Members, item number 4 has been rolled for 1 week. Item number 5, House Bill 351 by Representative Hurd. We have a motion and a second. I see there is an amendment on your bill. Is that correct, sir?
That's correct, Mr. Chairman. I've got 004179.
That's that. We have a motion. We have a motion and a second. We're going to go ahead and vote to put that on the bill. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The amendment is on the bill, and Representative, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee. House Bill 351 deals with the work release program through our local sheriff's offices. State law requires that prisoners participating in this program wear an electronic monitoring device unless they're supervised by an armed law enforcement or corrections officer, or a judge has approved in writing an exemption to allow the prisoner to be released from custody on work release or otherwise be allowed to leave the grounds of the county workhouse or jail for employment or to perform work in the community without an electronic monitoring device. House Bill 351 just looks to clarify who is responsible for the administrative costs and duties. This bill would simply give more local control by allowing local sheriff's departments to develop a policy to decide who is responsible for covering the cost of these devices and the administrative cost and duties. I bring this bill because it's a conflict and negatively affecting one of the work release programs in my district, and the sheriff's office brought it to me. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I'll take any questions.
Okay, members, we've heard the explanation. Is there any questions for Representative Hurd? Representative Martin.
Thank you, Representative. I've got a question, just clarity. I understand there's no fiscal note for state government. Is there been any thought about how this is going to impact county sheriff's offices, jails, et cetera?
Chairman, or Representative Hurt. Go ahead.
Financially, I mean.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So this was originally, this program was administered by the sheriff's departments and they handled all of that cost. 2 years ago, another representative brought a legislation to adjust it a little bit, which in the interpretation, an unintentional consequence put the responsibility on this passed to the businesses that participate. Whereas it causes a burden on the businesses, which most of the sheriff departments that do it, they want to handle that and handle all those costs and duties themselves to take the burden off of the businesses. The inmates pay for them. It's just a question of where the cost is deducted from their paycheck and how it's handled and paid to the sheriff's office for wearing those ankle monitors.
Representative Martin, any follow-up? All right, any other questions? Question has been called on the bill. If the clerk would please open the voting board. Has everyone voted? Anybody wish to change their vote? If not, Mr. Clerk, if you would, please take the vote.
Mr. Chairman, you have 8 ayes.
Representative Hurt, you're headed out to full committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and committee.
Thank you. Item number 6 is House Bill 1215 by Representative Johnson. We have a motion. Dies for a lack of a second. I didn't hear you.
I don't think he said it.
You already got
Members, that brings us to the end of our calendar. If I'd entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion to adjourn. We are adjourned.